Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. And last week we talked about, the battle within, our eternal talk and, all the mean stuff we tend to say to ourselves. So how do we get to the higher ground? How do we move? I said, let the emotions feel the emotions and let them go out the door. So how do we do that? And how do we just feel better? And I think I just answered part of it with just how do we feel better? So how do we get through our emotions? Well, one, we just have to honor them and feel them. So just be there with them, sit there, cry it out. One of the biggest ways is a journal. And I found more than ever, journaling right now is my go-to. And it's also about feeling good now. So focusing on feeling good now, and this doesn't mean that you shove the emotions underneath the rug, because they're going to be there. Unless you feel them, you move through them, and you say goodbye, see you later, or, thanks for coming, maybe I won't see you for a while. But the thing is, you can actually move to a higher emotion before you even, fully release that emotion, like the ones that are causing you grief. There's something causing those feelings, so you can feel better. So say you like, for me, I felt guilty that I felt angry and sad about things not working out the way I wanted them to, and I had to let that go. I had to let go of the need to have those situations happen. I know people that had to postpone their wedding. That is, and then I also had to make sure I don't hold on to other people's emotions either, because I can feel those as well. So it is really about feeling better. And then you can go back and, work out why you felt sad and angry or frustrated, or you're anxious, and just go from there. So what do I mean by that? So for me, it's leaning on gratitude. It's focusing on the things I have in my life right now that I'm grateful for. We're all healthy. That's something to be grateful for. And I get to spend more time with my children, as much as that can be a stressor in my life right now too, because I have them home 24/7 and I don't have any help other than my husband with them. It can be a stress point. However, it's about thinking about those moments, like watching them grow and develop. I wouldn't get these experiences with them, to see them grow and expand. Their minds are just wow, I get to see them every day. And it's been really a really amazing thing. Does that mean that I'm happy all the time, or super woohoo? No. It is still stressful. However, when I find those moments where I keep going back to oh, poor me, or oh man, couldn't we have help, or this and that, and you fall back to couldn't there be a better way? Instead, I leaned more into gratitude, and again, it's not about forgetting about the emotions that you felt before you move to a higher ground, to a higher emotion. However, like Gabby said, Gabby Bernstein, she's mentioned that, we have to deal with our emotions, but we can deal with them better when we're at a higher level of an emotional state. And it's so true. Because when you're sad, you're depressed, you can't think about doing anything else but laying around and maybe drowning out your feelings with food or TV, or just sleeping more. And so it's doing something small to get you higher. So maybe it's okay, I'm going to brush my teeth today. And I know for me, a part of it was actually doing the things I normally do. So I'm very fortunate that I always work from home. So not a lot has changed on my end, other than the fact that I'm with my kids and my husband 24/7 now. And then I'm not going for walks to the school and seeing the parents and the teachers and stuff like that. However, I'm doing the same thing. So I don't have this where I'm I'm not going to an office, or I'm not going to my workspace, outside of the house, that I don't have to do my makeup and hair and get dressed and stuff. However, I always found that working from home, I still I get up, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I get on a nice outfit that makes me feel good. Does it have to be like, dress pants or, anything like that? No, it can be yoga pants and a fun shirt. And that's okay too. Whatever feels good to you. And it's super important to feel good right now. And doing what feels good is key. So, if you feel better with a little bit of makeup on or a full face of makeup, then, do that. Do your hair, style it the way you want to style it if you were going out of the house. If you're doing it just to please other people, then take this time now to do it for you so you can feel good. I know for me, the days that I put makeup on, like I don't put makeup on all the time because in fact, even when I work from home, I don't always put makeup on. I let my face breathe. However, when I really want a little pick-me-up or if I'm feeling down, I will put makeup on and it feels good. And whatever feels good right now, do it. As long as it's not affecting, or hurting or harming anybody else. Like, whatever you can do in in your home space to feel good, you can do it. Like put on some music that makes you feel good. And, feel good movies. My go-tos have been Hallmark movies because there's no drama. It's light, it's fluffy. And yes, you might know it's predictable, but right now, it's kind of nice to have some predictableness, right? At least for me. And it's just nice and it makes me feel so good inside. And that's the emotion I'm looking for right now, to feel good inside so I can go deeper into my emotions that are underneath the surface or that have been, kind of holding me down or back from really living my best life. Because those emotions, even though if you put on a feel-good movie or you put on music or you focus on what's you're grateful for in your life, those other things are still going to be there. So move forward in feeling good. And then journal about what's been bothering you, or talk to somebody about what's going on for you. And I've really found it was helpful, talking to friends and stuff and realizing that, yes, I had like a pity party for myself. I had a super pity party for myself. And then when you talk to other people, it's like we're all giving up things that matter to us. We're all going through things right now. And I know Lady Gaga, there's an article I saw. I didn't read the whole thing, but the title was, we're not all in this together. And I have to say, I don't believe that. We are all in this together. The whole world is going through this. However, everybody's situation is different. So, we definitely have, like, everybody's household situations are all different. Like, some people are super bored right now and have no idea what to do with themselves. And then there's people like me who are in a constant state of going unless we actively and mindfully take time for ourselves. Like, for me, my husband and I have to have conversations constantly about, like, okay, I'm going upstairs to our bedroom to be, like, on my own for this amount of time. Okay. Tag, you're it. And trying to have the kids honor that as well. Because like I said last episode, my kids are 4 and 6. So they're at that age where they're still, they get what's going on, but they don't fully get it and they're not meant to. We all have our own, internal battles, like I mentioned, our voices in our head. And our kids are going through things too, and they're seeing things, they're hearing us talk about things and things like that. So the other thing I want to mention about getting higher ground, if you're feeling crappy and bad and you're watching the news, do yourself a favor and turn that stuff off. And the other thing is, I've limited myself to social media a lot. Like I might go on there once a day if I'm lucky. Usually it's just to see if anybody, if I posted something cute about the kids or something and I go check to see if there's comments. I'm not on there very often. I set up some things for my business page because I want to constantly give content. However, I'm not actively searching things because there's a lot of negativity on there. Now, I'm also very grateful that a lot of my Facebook friends and my friends in general on there are very positive peoples, and we've switched to more positive things on there. However, there's conversations on there that I stumble into, and then you go down that rabbit hole of negativity, and it's like, whew, why did I do that? Where did that half hour go? And why do I feel like somebody just punched me or ran me over with a car? And those are times to get off social media. It is time to get off there. And it's about feeling good. And if it doesn't make you feel good, then get off of it. Use it to communicate with your friends back and forth. But this is not the time to like surf Facebook or other social media and just see how people are doing. Be a fly on the wall. I mean, like check in with the messages or things like that. Or if there's a page that inspires you. There's definitely some groups I'm a part of and different pages I've liked that have really helped. But, don't go cruising and unless it makes you feel good. And it's just being aware of what you're doing. And for me, like, yes, it's important to stay up to date with what's going on. And for me personally, I was allowing myself to check in with going online. Like nowadays with the internet, you don't have to watch the news on TV. Oh my goodness, it's full of like the same thing over and over again. And they'll just keep doing it until they get more updates. Give yourself a break and get off there. And for me, I was going, I just go online. Everything that was on the news is now online, and it can all be grouped into one article. And it's from the same, news channel that you could be watching on TV, and you can read it or watch the video. I personally read it because I'm a visual person, and if I read the article, it has less of an emotional impact on me than if I watch it on a video and I hear people's voices. So I get the facts, or as much of the facts as I can get from, it's like how true are these facts? And that's a whole other can of worms, and this is not what this podcast is about. So we're not going there. I'm not going to go into the politician world. This is about feeling good. So what I've done is I usually go on once a day. However, I was starting to feel yucky still every single day. So what I do now is maybe once or twice a week is I will go on and just see, has anything changed? Do we have less, are there more restrictions to what we can do? Mind you, we're not doing any, we're just staying home anyways. So nothing has really, changed on our world because we are not moving. We're staying home. So why would I watch the news every day to see something? And I was like, well, if things shift and to the positive, I'm sure we'll hear about it instantly. People will be calling and woohoo and all that fun stuff. So I've really changed. And to be honest, the moment I stopped looking at the news and checking articles on a daily basis, oh my gosh, I felt so much better, so much lighter. And I just focused on the present, and I was with my kids more, or I have been with my kids more, and my husband. Yes, we still have our own, we both want to parent differently, and it can be a challenge at times. And, finding that balance between us both working and having the kids and things like that. And it can be tricky. So yes, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes here. However, since I've been able to, allow myself to just be instead of, reading things that make me feel not so great, or the more you read, how long is this going to go on, or all this stuff, then you go down that rabbit hole negativity. Now, this doesn't mean that we neglect or we put blinders onto what's happening around us. But that doesn't mean that we have to live in it 24/7. Again, it's about feeling good now. So feel good now by, turning that off and having those boundaries. I did the Love Power Hour workshop a while ago, and it was about setting healthy boundaries. And that includes talking to family members. At one point I talked to my grandma, and she was just constantly talking about, what's going on and all this. And I felt really yucky, and I didn't want to feel yucky talking to my grandma. I wanted to talk to her and feel good and, see how she's doing and being very positive into the situation. So eventually I was like, can we just please stop talking about this? And I said, can we please stop talking, or can we please start talking about something else? Or can we please, change the subject kind of deal. And it's just knowing and being mindful of when you're not feeling good. And then do less of that and more of what feels good. And again, it comes back to feeling good and then going back and getting those emotions, I don't want to say under control. Get those emotions, give them the light they deserve without judgment, without shame, without guilt, without fear. Unless I guess you can have fear, but if that's one of those things, then really, lean into that. Why are you afraid of looking at your emotions? What are you afraid to see or find? Maybe your emotions have been your blanket, your your safety net, your comfort zone, something that maybe it's, sometimes we get so uncomfortably comfortable that we're afraid to make that change. Maybe some of these emotions have been there so long that you're afraid to let them go. Maybe it's your story that you've really been telling yourself for so many years. So it's okay to feel them. And like I said, journaling has been one of the biggest ways. So when I finally made the decision that I didn't want to feel like this anymore, that I didn't want to be a victim, that I don't want to be like, poor me, why is this happening? And, pity party. I was like, let's end this pity party. I pulled out my journal. I did things that made me feel good, put music on, do things with my children that feel good, get outside in our backyard and envision the life I want to see and what I want to live and how I want to be. And that helps shape the present that I'm in now. And meditation is a big part of it. It helps me quiet down the space so I can feel, I can be mindful of what's going on. And then I can open up the space to listen from within and move forward with love instead of fear. Do I feel good all the time? Oh, no, I do not. However, the more you lean on these tools, like your journal, meditating, yoga for me, yoga is a big one for me because it can be like a meditative when you're focused on your breathing and the movement. It's really great for your body because you're giving your body movement and stretching. And it's really good for your mind as well. So it's been a beautiful thing. Breathing techniques. All these things have really been helpful tools for me so I could move forward with love instead of fear, anger, hate, frustrations. Just getting me out of that place of feeling like a failure, feeling like a victim, like this is all happening to, because I'm not good enough. And it's like, oh, there you go, Jody, you can't have this kind of thing. Like all these things, it has helped me lift and move forward or see things differently so I can start living differently. So next week, we're going to talk about, love and the power of love. So I hope you stay tuned and I will talk to you soon. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.